name of the panel is The Saudi Model, Creating Sustainable Leagues Through Development, Governance and Privatization, in partnership with SPL. The next panel explores the transformation of the Saudi domestic league, understanding their growth, which has caused a revolution in football worldwide, I can say. And I have the pleasure of moderating this. Let's witness the blueprint behind the most rapid transformation in football history. We'll uncover how governance and privatization are building a sustainable legacy for the Saudi Pro League. Please welcome to the stage my good friend and the CEO of the Saudi Pro League, Mr. Omar Mugharbel. I think he's just getting mic'd up, so we'll give him 60 seconds. Okay, and here we are. Omar, choose a seat. You choose. What's your good side? They're both good. I've been wanting to have this conversation for the longest time. Wanted it to be on my podcast, but I'll take anything at this point. I just want to say before we start, Omar, I'm so proud of what you've put together over the past couple of years. We've all been watching, the world's been watching, so from me, and I'm sure everyone in this room, congratulations on the success so far, Habibi.
Thank you.
There's a question that I want to ask you that has not been approved by your team. Is there any chance we see Mo Salah in the Saudi Pro League?
You had to start there, huh?
I had to.
Well, I definitely hope so. But I think the sheer fact that you're asking that question, if we look back 3 years ago, nobody would have asked that question. And I think that's a testament of how far we've come as a league in terms of recognizing that it's a viable career choice for a lot of the players that we've seen in the league. But I just want to clarify something. As a league, we don't choose players. We empower the clubs through our process and governance to make the right technical decisions that fit their squads. But I do, for sure, hope that we do see Mo Salah in our league soon.
Inshallah. I'm sure he'll be listening attentively for any offers coming from Saudi Arabia more than ever before. It's been almost 2.5 years since the launch of the SPL transformation strategy and the massive influx of global superstars that we've witnessed in our league. We've heard of many things about the change in direction or lack of sustainability. Can you tell us, if anything, what has changed since that first summer upon embarking on the new transformation plan?
Sure. So first of all, nothing's changed. I think from day one we set out to have a long-term strategy that was based on different milestones and different objectives throughout the lifeline of the strategy. The first phase was really about opening up the league to the world and welcoming stars and inviting people to be part of this amazing transformation journey that we've gone through. And this saw the influx of a lot of players coming into the league. And now we're in the phase where we're really doubling down on how do we improve the infrastructure, how do we improve the capabilities of the clubs, how do we govern better, how do we improve the fan experience, and how do we commercialize the league as a whole. So again, nothing has changed. It's just about the phases that we're in throughout our transformation journey, and we're still quite ambitious in terms of what we want to achieve very soon, inshallah.
Going into this, I'm sure you thought that it was going to be challenging. Was there anything that you didn't think would be that challenging that upon embarking on your journey as the CEO of the league ended up becoming something more of a challenge than you might have anticipated it being?
So I think in any transformation, you're definitely going to be faced with different challenges. And I think what is driving us is our ambition and our persistence that we want to do great things. So every challenge that we face today, be it in terms of regulations that we need to improve, in terms of capabilities that we need to build, is just another possibility for us to improve and do more things. So yes, we've been faced with a lot of challenges, but these are all opportunities for us to unlock better capabilities for the future.
Amazing. We see superstars and the financial powers that bring these superstars to our league. We see the league being translated in, as far as commentary is concerned, in languages that are through the roof. I remember Ronaldo's bicycle kick. There was this Instagram post of all the different languages that were commentating on that game. And I was like, my God, the league has really become global, mashallah. What goes into all of that work? You know, we see it, but behind the scenes, I'm sure you worked with your team tireless, you know, through days on days, nights on nights. What happens behind the scenes that maybe we don't know about that you go through?
So of course, let's start with probably the attraction of players. Maybe that was the first spark of the league truly transforming. And with that came a lot of expectations in us to develop the league further in terms of the capabilities that exist in the clubs, the capabilities that exist in the league as well, in terms of people, process, technology, etc. And that's really what we've been focused on over the past 3 years. How do we build a sustainable league that is really going to deliver the global product that we want for Saudi, by Saudi, that we want to export to the world? So we've been working a lot on the governance, so in terms of the regulations that we use in order to govern the overall game with our clubs. We've been looking at things like financial sustainability with financial regulations. We've been doubling down on monetizing the league. How do we improve overall commercialization of the league for the league and for the clubs? A lot has been done in terms of how do we engage with audiences, both domestically and internationally. So there's definitely no stone that has not been turned in order for us to really get to where we are today. I think over the past 3 years, we've hit every single metric that we had aspired to do. And now it's about how do we continue to aspire to higher things in the upcoming phase as well.
I remember early days when we just signed Ronaldo and the players that came after him immediately. There was a lot of talk about, oh, we've seen this before. It was like China 10 years ago. What do you say to those who think that this is just a 4 or 5 year project and the league is going to go back to where it came from?
A lot. I think first and foremost, the main objective is for us to deliver and build a league that the Saudi football fans can be proud of. So that's always our number one objective, and it will remain to be our number one objective. Then it's about how do we share the story with the global audience. So it's a lot about come and see and experience and ask the right questions and live what does it mean for football in Saudi Arabia. And pretty much that's all I would say.
Attendance has been something that we get criticized a lot from Western press, although most of the matches that I've seen this season, and I'm talking not just the Big Five, I'm starting to watch Al Khulud by way of me becoming friends with Ben Harburg, and there are more people in seats than ever before. What have you guys done to ensure attendance is on the uptick?
So attendance has been growing year on year, but it's not at the level that we aspire to be. And we have clubs that have massive fandom, and you see this in the stadiums every single weekend. And I'm not talking only about the biggest clubs that we have, even some mid-tier clubs as well. But this has been something that we've been focusing on in the past 2 years, and we've done a lot so far, and there's still a lot to happen. So one of the things that we did last season was we centralized, unified how fans buy tickets to make it simple, accessible, and always attainable for fans. So that's one thing that we did. Another thing is that we developed somewhat of a feedback loop with the fans. So today, anybody who attends a match will give us their feedback, how their experience went. And this is key data in order for us to actually improve all the bottlenecks or all the issues that we have. We invested also in terms of creating a partnership with OVG this year, where they today manage the F&B offering that we have across our matches to uplift, again, the overall match experience. And that's just about match day, and there's still a lot that we're doing today in terms of creating better regulations around crowd management, and uplifting the capabilities of the different partners in the market. That's on match day. But what we've been spending most of our time since the late last season is how do we empower our clubs to be better at mobilizing their efforts to engage with fans, not only on match day, but before the match day. Going to the community, promoting what they stand for, promoting the matches, etc. And this has enabled the clubs to have better direct interactions in their local communities that have actually translated into better performance in terms of attendance. So for us, it's a journey. It's about building capability. It's about fixing some of the legacy issues that we might have from an infrastructure point of view. But I think we're definitely on the right path moving forward.
You know what I loved seeing so much, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Ittifaq was the first to have their own stadium, and followed by Al Fath, and obviously Shabab here on King Fahd Street, having their own stadiums, the way they do in La Liga and the Premier League. Commercially, what kind of effect has come from that?
So I think with the support of the ministry, every year they've been investing a lot in uplifting the infrastructure. But obviously the main target is World Cup, with all the massive investments that are going to happen and the benefits that the clubs will get out of that. In that season, actually, there were 3 clubs that they got their own stadium in the same year. There was Shabab, Al Fath, and Al Ittifaq. And of course, this means a lot for the clubs because we aspire to have a concept of one club, one stadium. That now allows them for better identification in terms of their home base. It allows them to commercialize. It allows familiarity in terms of the fans. And we're on that pathway to do so. This season, Al Majma'a was reopened after renovations for Fayha. Neom got a new stadium as well. So it's a constant journey. We have a lot of clubs and a lot of stadiums that we need to fix. And I think MLS is doing a great job in supporting that trajectory.
So the master plan is eventually every Saudi Pro League should have its own stadium, the way we see it in the top leagues in the world.
So I think the main objective is they should have a city stadium to start off with, okay? But in some cases, more than one club might share the same stadium, which you see also in Europe. It's more efficient, it's better for the fan experience, etc. But the ambition is that at least there's a consistency in terms of where clubs play in the future.
On the subject, staying on the subject of the commercial viability, how is the league progressing? What are you doing different in all efforts pertaining to commercial value?
So I think the commercial team over the past 2 years in SPL has done an amazing job. Our revenues from sponsorship alone are up 3 times since we started the transformation. We just signed also a long-term deal with a new broadcasting partner, which saw a growth of almost 50% in terms of value. But we're not stopping there. Today, because a lot of the contracts that we're doing are long-term, because we want to ensure the sustainability, but we're also looking at other avenues of how can we unlock further potential opportunities. So for example, we're heavily investing in building our communities in terms of our digital touchpoints, website, social media, and our content as well. And this allows us to create visibility for our sponsors and hence monetize on that. We're also exploring a lot in terms of broadcasting, where in some markets we're testing with different broadcasting models to unlock or understand how we can better monetize. But it's not only about the league, it's also about how do we support the clubs in developing their commercial assets, centralizing some of them, helping them with connection between potential sponsors and the clubs. And it's an ongoing journey that we're going through. But I think so far we've managed to achieve amazing results. And now it's really about how do we find other avenues to create revenue for the league and for the clubs.
So you guys get involved with broadcasting. If you see there's a region in the world that doesn't have the league showing on their channels, you would open negotiations with their local broadcasters.
So I think our approach to broadcasting is a bit different than the traditional sense, because today we understand that there's a change in demographic, there's a change in interest. So in order for us to appeal to different audiences, we really need to look at broadcasting from different lenses. So for example, this year we started a long-term deal with Themani, our new broadcasting partner, because we prioritize storytelling over traditional broadcasting. And we want to make sure that our product is being positioned in a way that is relevant for a wider audience, okay, but also for a younger audience. In parallel to that, we also partner with Jaco, which is a local and regional social media platform where matches are also being broadcasted on a social media platform. But we didn't even stop there. In France, for example, we prioritize going with a deal with a traditional broadcaster with a content creator called Zach Nani, and the numbers that we've seen since the beginning of the season are just insane in terms of comparing before and after we signed with him. So I think we have the luxury today to test and learn new concepts, okay? Fail, but fail fast and learn and move on. And our whole ambition is that we want to appeal to a mass audience in a relevant way, in the relevant moment. So it's a constant, let's say, journey of how do we perfect the model and not just stick to what is traditionally acceptable.
Are we leading that, approaching it in more of a storytelling than just your conventional methods of broadcasting? I love what you said, that we want to fail and learn so we can be better. Are we leading that drive in doing something, what you mentioned, for the first time?
So I think in terms of partnering with content creators as broadcasters, definitely we're leading on that. When it comes to our own content, no, there's a lot of great examples across different sports IPs, not even football, that we're also learning from. But everything that we're capturing from a global experience, we're localizing into something that is relevant for us, be it for the Saudi market or even international markets. For example, we have today different channels for our audiences. We have Portuguese for Brazil. We have Mandarin for the Chinese market. We have English for a wider audience. We're soon going to launch Spanish and also for the Indonesian market. And every single touch point doesn't just copy the content. We look at what's relevant for that market. What do they want to see? What highlights? What teams? What stories, etc. And we make sure that we're telling the story from the perspective that is relevant for those target audiences. And that's how we really create engagement across the globe.
I really focused on the production this year, and I can say that our production today is up there with the best in the league, the Spanish league, the Premier League. We are there. In terms of the cameras, the quality, we are there. I will say that. You don't have to say that. What's one thing people don't see about the work that you do that you wish they understood?
Well, for starters, we have a team of amazing individuals in SPL that work tirelessly to manage, develop, and grow the league. And I think usually not everybody sees the soldiers that we have behind the scenes, so that's probably one. But I think most importantly, which I think is a common, let's say, misconception, that we are doing this for our love of the game. We're doing this for Saudi, for the Saudi fans. We've seen a lot of the discussions earlier about the transformation that sport sector is seeing in Saudi, and we're a part of that journey. And that's what drives us, and that's what we've been doing. But it's not really, and you mentioned earlier, it's not about just the players. It's about how are we really working on everything in the league. From regulations, we just finished the biggest overhaul of regulations in SPL's history, where we brought everything into one handbook to enable the clubs to have clarity in terms of how they operate, how they perform on match day and other matters. We've done a lot in terms of fan engagement, be it with the broadcasting deals that we just spoke about, and how we interact with our fans. And there's many more things that are happening in the background. But the results, I think, speak for themselves. Today, we're broadcasted in over 180 countries through close to 40 broadcasters worldwide. That's higher than most of the top 5 leagues, because our ambition is that we want people to experience our product. Our social media has more than 10x since we started this. We just recently crossed 120 million views on YouTube over the past year and a half, and many more things that are happening. If we look at the competitiveness of the league, it has grown massively. Today it's not only about the financial means, it's about the technical capability. Ta'awun today is doing an amazing job rivaling the top of the league. You see even the King's Cup, the likes of Khulud now are in the top 4 of this league. So there's a lot of things that are happening from a sporting perspective, but also in terms of how are we building the league for a sustainable future.
I love that, thank you. I'll end with this. What's the end game for the Saudi Pro League? When do you stop and say, we made it?
Well, we're not going to stop, that's for sure. And I think we're inspired by our leadership in the country that inspires us to constantly strive for greatness and excellence. And every milestone for us is just a beginning of something bigger and greater. I think we've come very far in a very short period of time. And if you just sit and think about what's possible in the next 2 or 3 or 5 years or all the way to the World Cup, I think the possibilities are unlimited, and this is what we're constantly going to drive. How do we constantly improve the league, its competitiveness, its attractiveness, and how do we truly build something for Saudi that we export to the world?
Thank you, Omar. I'm so proud of you and your team. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO of the Saudi Pro League, Omar Mugharbel.